Just the facts, ma'am.
Hey all, in this video I'm going to give you some very easy steps to put together an emergency food storage package in your house. And this is primarily for people that have been meaning to put together something, but they just haven't gotten around to it. Maybe because they've watched some videos and it just seems complicated, or it seems like there's so much expense involved, especially with some prepping videos when they give you a list of things you need. That's really not the case. We're going to break it down to some really easy little steps that give you a good feeling of satisfaction right away. And the primary benefit from this is that if something happens, if you hear a news report that you've got a big storm coming, or maybe there's an earthquake or some other disaster, you automatically know that you are covered for a certain amount of time. So you don't have to think, oh my gosh, I should go to the grocery store, or I wish we had this or that, or you're rooting through your cabinets trying to find things. You don't want to be in that position. So in the video, I'm going to give you a couple of small goals by time, and then I'm going to tell you one change that if you make when you go shopping that can save you so much time, can save you easily 30 to 40% off your grocery bill, and makes shopping just overall much more pleasant. Okay, so the first goal is very simple, just 72 hours worth of food. Yes, you probably have 3 days worth of food in the house. However, instead of going through your cabinets and your fridge and trying to patch together meals to cover yourself for 3 days, you'll have an organized box that has numerous food items in it just for power outages that makes the whole thing much more relaxed and much more pleasant. Of course, you need at least 1 gallon of water per person per day, plus water for your animals. Ideally 2 gallons so you can brush your teeth and wash your hands if you need to. You need cold, ready-to-eat foods because at this point we're assuming you cannot cook. You can't heat anything up. Obviously, put a flashlight in the box, ideally a radio. Make sure you've got some medical supplies, specifically painkillers, maybe some cold and flu medicine, any prescription meds for 3 days. Because if somebody's going to get sick, even if they never get sick, it's probably going to happen when there's a power outage and you're stuck at home. Make sure you've got a manual can opener, and picking up some cheap paper plates that you can use as plate liners so you don't have to do dishes is also a good idea. Now, for simplicity's sake, we're going to assume you do not have a way to heat up food. So you want to store items that you can enjoy cold. And if the power's out, you're probably going to be bored, so having snack type items will do a lot to keep your spirits up and keep you entertained to some extent. One thing to consider is that foods that contain fat have a shorter lifespan, unless they're canned. So if you're storing crackers like Ritz that have fat and oil in them, or if you're storing dry dog food or cat food, or granola bars and trail mix, plan to rotate that out every 6 months unless there's an expiration date marked on the package. Also store a variety of beverages. Instant coffee you can make with cold water. Gatorade powder is good, especially if the weather's hot. If you like, you can buy cans of, I think Starbucks puts coffee in cans these days. Coffee drinkers or soda drinkers need to get their caffeine fix, and having a variety of beverages just makes the whole thing much more pleasant. So once you've got your 72-hour box all done and you've got it packed away in the closet, pat yourself on the back and tell yourself, job well done. And when you're ready, let's start on the next little goal, which will simply be taking your food supply out to 7 days. For the 7-day food goal, we're going to add one very important item, and that is a camp stove. A little propane or butane stove that you can set right up on your countertop, and it lets you boil water, heat up food, fry food, cook the way you would on your typical stove. I use a Coleman propane stove. I think I paid about $30 for it. It takes me about 2 minutes to screw in the 1-pound propane bottle, and one bottle lasts me about a week's worth of cooking, and that's about $3 at Walmart or hardware store for propane. You can also pick up butane models for under $20 if you like, and these little stoves are just such a game changer when it comes to food. Whichever model you buy, make sure it's got a nice solid base that you could put a big pot of water on. You don't want a backpacking type stove that's flimsy, especially since you're using this in the kitchen anyways. Now that you have a way to cook, it's really a game changer when it comes to food. First thing, of course, is you want to cook up foods in the fridge before they go bad. So if you've got eggs and bacon in the fridge, there's no reason you can't have a regular hot breakfast. If you've got steaks in the freezer, thaw them out and have steak for dinner if you like. Plus, as far as the number of foods that you can store, that changes dramatically too, because now you can store dry foods like rice, pasta, a variety of canned foods that taste good when they're heated up. You can make pancakes, you can make tortillas if you're running out of bread. There are just a lot more options. So when you add additional food to get your supplies up to the 7-day mark, you probably want to add things that you can make a full hot meal out of. Now, once you've got your first 7 days of supplies, then instead of going forward in that mode, we're going to make a change. And we're going to change the way we shop and start developing an ongoing food pantry. And this is where, if you're looking to save money on groceries, you're really going to see a huge benefit. It's also going to make shopping just much quicker and much easier. So the first step is choose 1 or 2 of your favorite grocery stores that are conveniently located and have a nice environment where you actually like to shop. Now, this next tip is going to be obvious to people that have been long-time sales shoppers, but most people don't do this. Every time you go grocery shopping, before you go, you're going to read the sales flyer and see what's on sale that week. You can pull it up online, or if you completely forgot until you're actually in the store, go to the front of the store and grab a circular off the front. And take 2 or 3 minutes and actually read through all of the items that week. When you do this, you're looking for very specific things, and there very often might only be a couple of items each time you go to the store that qualify. And those are items that you normally buy, that you like, that you use on a regular basis, that are deeply discounted. By deeply discounted, I mean they're very often buy one, get one free deals, or discounted by half. Maybe it's meat that, chicken instead of $3.50 a pound, it's on sale for 99 cents a pound. When you find those select items, you're going to buy 3 months worth. Now, if you ever tried to save money on groceries, very often what people do is either they start buying generic brands instead of the brand names that they prefer, or they start shopping at places like Walmart or dollar stores because the prices are overall lower. When in fact, when grocery stores have deals, buy one, get one free deals, or severe discounts, their prices are way lower than you're going to find at a Walmart. And very often those specials are promoted by the manufacturer. For instance, like Campbell Soup. Campbell Soup occasionally runs really good discounts. And when that happens, you notice that 2 or 3 grocery stores in the area will all start offering the same or similar deals on Campbell Soup around the same time period. By buying 3 months worth when it's on sale, you're basically locking in that price. So you're not just getting that deal a couple of weeks out of the year, you're getting it pretty much all year because you're always using stock that you got when it was on sale. Now, if you're not a sales shopper, it can take a little while to learn what pricing is. Generally speaking, anything that's a buy one, get one free is a good price. Other than that, you might have to read the flyers for a few weeks to know when other items are offered at a good price, because a lot of the quote sale items are maybe only discounted by 5 cents or something, but they still put it in their flyer. For reference, things that frequently get deeply discounted, like half off, include poultry. Chicken, instead of, like I said, $3.50, pick it up for 99 cents a pound. Steak, same deal. Bread frequently goes on sale, and that's something you can put in your freezer, and it stores really well. Amazingly well. It thaws out just like fresh. Frozen veggies. Pasta sauce, that's on sale every other week pretty much. Anything in a can that's a big brand name. Some of the specialty items, you're not going to see it as often. But canned soups, chili, tuna, salmon, different types of meat, all of that. All the big name breakfast cereals, coffee, tea, mayo, salad dressing, barbecue sauce by manufacturers like Kraft and Wishbone frequently have buy one, get one free deals. Seasoning and spices, that goes on sale every few months. Ice cream, cake mixes, pudding, jello, very frequently half off. Same thing with laundry detergent and like Dawn dish soap. If you pay attention, you're going to see the deals. And every time you're buying 3 months worth. So after a few weeks, you're going to have a pretty nice food pantry built up. Now, one word of caution. When you start doing this and you actually start looking at all these deals, sometimes you're thinking, gosh, I really want to get my food pantry built up and that's such a good deal. I don't normally use it, but I'll find a use for it. Don't do that. If it's not something that you would normally pay regular price for, do not buy it because it's on sale. Reason being, your pantry is going to build up very quickly with the foods that you do normally use. The foods that are marginal that you don't normally use are just going to end up sitting there. Now, I should also mention there's a few staple items that are virtually never deeply discounted. They run sales, but it's really not much of a cost savings. Those items include sugar, flour, white rice, milk, powdered milk. And that's one item where you actually can get better prices at some of the big box stores like Walmart. For instance, my local grocery stores always have one brand of sugar on sale for $2 for a 4-pound bag. However, Walmart's standard price is $1.37 for sugar. Same thing with rice. I can get 50 pounds of rice at Walmart for $20, which is much less than my grocery store. So that's one thing. If you have to go to Walmart anyways, it is a good place to get staples. Now, one word of caution with Walmart is that they very often don't have very much in stock. When I go to buy rice, very often they only have one large bag, a 20-pound bag. That's it. There's nothing in the stock room. And when I want to buy 50 pounds, that's a problem. However, you can order online. So you can order it ahead and they'll have it in store when you get there. Or right now they're offering free shipping. So the last time I ordered rice, I ordered 120 pounds of rice and they delivered it in 2 days at no cost, which was a good deal for me. And that's something to think about. If a super Walmart only has 20 pounds of rice on the shelf and nothing in the back room, they're depending on trucks to deliver every single night. What do you think happens when a disaster hits and those trucks can't roll? How long do you think there's going to be food on the shelves? Not long. Now, when you first start shopping this way, you're not going to see a real difference for a few weeks. And then suddenly your grocery bill is starting to go way down, and the number of items that you're buying at the store goes way down. Your trips become so much faster. Why? Because items that typically you might have been rebuying every week or two, every time you went grocery shopping, now you're buying it once every 3 months, and you're getting it at half price, and you're keeping it in a food pantry. So if there's an emergency, you've got a lot of food, and your shopping trips become lightning fast. Now, one thing to be mindful of as you start to build up your food pantry is that you don't want dry goods on the shelf for more than 3 months. As you find good deals and you buy up food, you don't want to end up with rice or pasta or anything like that sitting on the shelf for 6 months to a year, because you run the risk of insect infestation. One box comes from the store that has bugs in it and suddenly all of your dry goods are infested. So if and when you decide you want to keep dry goods beyond the 3-month mark, the best idea is to simply go on Amazon or eBay and buy a set of 1-gallon Mylar bags. They cost about $20 for 50 bags that come with an oxygen absorber, and all you're going to do is put your dry goods in the bag, throw an oxygen absorber in there, and seal it up with an iron. And for reference, a 1-gallon Mylar bag will hold 4 pounds of sugar, 4 pounds of flour, 2 boxes of pasta. I think it holds about 5 pounds of rice. You can get a lot of things in there, 3 rolls of Nabisco crackers. So the 1-pound size is usually the best because it's a usable size. Now, if and when you decide you want to store food in Mylar, there's a bazillion YouTube videos out there showing you exactly how to do it, and there's lists of the types of foods to store. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I'm just letting you know that it's available, and that's what your best option is beyond the 3-month mark. Having said that, there's a few other items that really are necessary if you get stuck in a long-term power outage, and I'm just going to share some of my favorite items that I find to be the most useful, because in a rural area, I have gone without power for a solid week a few times in the last few years, often during ice storms where the roads are closed and you can't leave. So some of these items you probably already have something in the house, but they're also items that you need to think about adding if and when it's appropriate for you and when time and money permits. So first up is lighting. If you have not bought a new flashlight in a few years, do yourself a favor, go onto eBay and buy a couple of little LED flashlights. They are so much brighter and better. You'll be amazed at the technology. And you can get a set of 2 or 3 for 10 or 12 bucks. They're really worthwhile, and like I said, you cannot begin to compare them to the old flashlights from 10 years ago. The light that I prefer even more than a flashlight is by far a book light. Not only can you read with a book light for hours and you forget the power's off, but they easily clip to your clothes and they provide a nice level of light that lets you walk around the house, or it's hands-free lighting if you're doing some task. They're just handy. In fact, when I'm in the house during a power outage, it's the book light that I use most. Sometimes I light a couple of candles for ambience, but the flashlights I really only use outdoors. The next item that I consider just as vital as lighting is a radio. If you're stuck with power out for days and there's an emergency, you don't want to be burning up your cell phone batteries trying to get news and keep yourself entertained. A radio really helps in that situation. You got 2 options. Some people go with the emergency crank radios. Personally, I'm not a fan of those at all. A couple reasons. You have to crank them, and the speaker quality is awful. It's very scratchy sounding. Now, some of them do have good options, like you can charge a cell phone on those radios. That's a good thing. But overall, I much prefer the little pocket transistor radios that have a long battery life. A lot of them you can get 30 or 50 hours of playtime out of just 1 or 2 AA batteries. However, the biggest benefit, in my opinion, is the sound quality. If you use earbuds, even small little transistor radios sound really good. So not only do you not have to crank it, but you can actually get clear audio on them. Cost-wise, they're about the same. You can get either type for $20 on up to a few hundred. Next item is a backup heat source, which can be really crucial depending on where you live. The two most common, easy options that people go with are either propane heaters, like the Big Buddy style, or kerosene heaters. Personally, I prefer kerosene. I did have a propane, I just didn't like using it. Kerosene I think is easy because the little heaters like the HeatMate, they've got a removable 1-gallon tank so you can carry it outside and fill it up. And there's no explosion risk. Kerosene doesn't explode, so that provides peace of mind. And you can get either propane or kerosene easily for $150, and they're very lightweight, very easy to move around, so that's another benefit. Now, one item that should be mentioned is a portable generator, which I think is nice as a luxury item. It is good to keep your freezer cold if you run it for a few minutes a day. It will keep it frozen. And it's good for entertainment and maybe good if you need to run a well pump to get water. However, I really think this is a wish list type item. It's not necessary. And I would caution anyone from thinking that they'll get a generator and then they can use that for their heat supply and their cooking, because generators are finicky. If you put all your eggs in one basket and that thing stops running or you don't have enough gas, you don't want to lose heat and cooking ability on top of it. Plus, generators are really ungodly loud. If you have neighbors anywhere nearby, they're going to hate it. Especially, it's not something you can crank up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make coffee without peeving off all of your neighbors. And of course, no video on getting prepared for disasters would be complete without a discussion of weaponry. For Americans, the typical weapons of choice for home defense are usually a 12-gauge shotgun and a 9mm or .40 caliber handgun. However, if you like firearms, you probably already have that. And if you don't have firearms, you may not want to or be able to purchase something like that right away. Another really good, inexpensive option is simply go down to the hardware store or the feed store and get yourself a machete. Some of the best brand name machetes, like Tramontina from Brazil, they're amazingly inexpensive. I just bought one at my feed store for I think $9 not long ago, and they are devastatingly effective weapons. So I hope this overview video really inspires people that have been meaning to put some kind of emergency kit together to actually do it. Just take it in small steps, and before you know it, you will have a lot accomplished, and you really will feel a peace of mind as a result. If you have any questions, leave them below, share your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.